Welcome to Super Scoopers over here in the corner pocket. This video is sponsored to you by Bud Light. Next time it ain't free. My name's Ozzy Scooper, aka Austin Welch Jr., aka Six Shooter, aka the Irish Assassin. I got one question. Are you guys ready to bake some cheese? Well, let's fucking go. First game on the slate, Carolina-Seattle. Rematch divisional playoff of last season. 31-0 Seattle midway through the second quarter. Seattle wakes up. Russ comes back, makes it 31-24. Does everything he can. Eventually the clock just runs out. Cam escapes. On his way out the door, he picks up a 12-man flag. 12th man on it. Crumbles it up, throws it, little, just childish Cam stuff. Yeah, no big deal, right? Narrative's kind of been hiding in the weeds throughout the week. Well, when you got guys like Earl, Cam, and I'm talking the real Cam, Michael Bennett, they didn't take it to, they didn't like it, I'll just put it that way. We got revenge. And when I say revenge, they're the type of defense when they go out to shut you out, and Seattle's not a team that can really run the ball, so if they're beating you and they really want to just pound your head in, and they just keep throwing and throwing and throwing, and you quit, it can get ugly on you. Luke Kuechly, as far as value, Luke Kuechly's value to his defense is the equivalent of almost like an A.J. Green to the Bengals offense. It's just a different unit. He's a vocal leader. He goes sideline to sideline. Without him on the field, it just looks like a different team. You got Russell. The mobility's back. Without Kuechly, you saw it last week. Oakland drops 35 on Carolina. This will be week 2, life without Kuechly, and it's about to get ugly. People, this is the last spot where anyone's going to believe in Carolina. Off East Coast trip for Seattle, they only score 5 points. And really, when a team like that does that, you think they laid an egg. But, rewatching that game on Sunday Ticket, Tampa Bay's defense just flat out just were hungrier. They executed better. They had a better game plan. It was one of the better defensive performances I've seen all season. You got Jimmy and Baldwin. We've seen them on primetime before. Baldwin with 3 touchdowns. Jimmy with 2 one-handed grabs. First Buffalo. So you're Carolina. Let's put yourselves, I call it the shoe game. Let's put ourselves in Carolina's shoes here. So you play for a Super Bowl. You come back the following year. You got the cockiest quarterback in the league. 8, 9 games to the season, things aren't going your way, but you're still fighting. Even last week against Oakland, you're down 24-7 at halftime, easily could have mailed it in. Instead, you come out, show some heart, you fight back, you take the lead, and then you get carded at the end. And it's the type of thing that'll take the life out of you. And then you got to go to Seattle for a primetime game when they're ready to come for your throat. This is play of the year, you see these touts. I'm not a tout. I'm a capper. I put time in and I give it to you. What you do with it is yours. But in the world of capping, this spot right here, this is once in the season you're gonna find something like this. Hawks not only top play of the week, I'm gonna call it the top play of the year. Whatever you would normally bet on a top play, I diversify a little bit. First half and full game, Hawks with a beatdown, 31-0. Second game I want to touch on, Miami-Baltimore. Baltimore, number 1 defense in the NFL, statistically, welcomes back Elvis Dumervil and Jimmy Smith. You might have heard of Dumervil, probably thinking, who's Jimmy Smith? Well, he's a corner from Colorado. First rounder, guy that just does his work, doesn't like to talk a lot, not a Pat, not a Richard Sherman, but he's right there with them as far as best in the league. 6'3", physical. He missed the Dallas game. If he plays that game, I have no doubt who walks away as the winner. So you get those two back versus a Miami team that, number 3 in the league in rushing, number 21 in passing. If you can't pass the ball against Baltimore, which even if you're a good passing team, you're going to struggle against them. They shut down the run game. You saw what they did to Dallas in the first half. The front seven so physical. They're healthier than they were then. You got a Florida team, won 6 in a row, coming up to Baltimore, mid-40s. in those 6 wins for Miami, 4 of them at home, 2 of them in California. You know, there's something about being in that warm weather for a long period and then you get out of it, like going on vacation. It's just, you know, it takes your body a little bit of time to get acclimated. And, you know, by the time things get acclimated for Miami, I mean, they're a well-coached team. Adam Gase is the real deal. Buy stock in him for the future. But it's, you know, even last week, Miami for San Fran outgained 475 to 358 in total yards. They took advantage of 2 fumbles. It's a bad spot for Miami. I really don't see how they get to 10 points. You know, as far as the Baltimore offense, I can see how you could be skeptical. Well, you know, I can understand they shut down Miami, but how are they going to score? I'm not 100% sure that they can or will. I think they're going in the right direction. Flacco, people forget, coming off an ACL injury late in the season last year, Perryman injuries, Pitta injury, Steve Smith Achilles injury. I mean, the whole offense. When you get hurt late in the season, it takes you a little bit of time the following year to get in your groove. And I think that the Baltimore Ravens are going to do what they normally do. I mean, they don't call him January Joe for no reason, Joe Cool. He gets better as the season goes on. He plays well when it counts. And here you get, you know, Joe Flacco in a spot where, you know, AFC team that's 7-4 in playoff contention, Ravens in playoff contention for the division, for the wild card. Must-win situation at home. You know, just love this spot. I think it's going to be just so loud. Tannehill's going to, you know, these 6 games that Miami's won, they haven't won these games because of Tannehill. They've won them because Tannehill was Alex Smithing. I mean, he didn't mess the game up. He did what he needed to. Jay Ajayi's the real deal, but I mean, you saw Elliott in the first half until they started wearing on him a little bit with the slants because Jimmy was out. I mean, this Raven defense, the 2 best defenses in the league are Seattle and Baltimore. I mean, Denver, they're 24th in the league against the rush. If you think they're the best defense in the league, you're stuck in 2016. I mean, let's just be honest. So I got Ravens 16, Miami 3. Love Ravens first half, Ravens game. And I'm going to have a type out with all the plays that are made at the bottom here in the comments. Next game up, the New York Giants at Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, big game personnel for Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin, you know, he just loves it, loves the big moments, loves these primetime games. They go, you know, Washington week 1 on Monday night. They go Kansas City Sunday night. The Kansas City game was 31-3 at halftime. Washington game 41-14. Dallas, I mean, they showed up. You know, they were up 12-3 on the verge of going up 19-3 before Elliott took that screen past 90. You know, it wasn't like Pittsburgh didn't play well. I mean, their defense just, you know, got a little caught off guard by a couple Elliott runs in the second half, and, you know, they got dacked. What do you want to say? Indy game, you know, you saw it in the first half when they needed to move the ball on 3rd down with Le'Veon Bell coming out of the backfield. It's almost to the point where it's like a video game. It almost feels illegal. It really is scary. And I tell you what, people don't know this. This will be the secret for the, you know, I've been picking Pittsburgh to win the Super Bowl here for a couple weeks. And the reason behind this is because they have the best offense in pro football. And they have yet to play a single game together as a unit, all in full health. That's Ben Roethlisberger, Eli Rogers in the slot, Antonio Brown on the outside, Ladarius Green, Le'Veon Bell. Ladarius Green's a tight end. He's 6'7", 260. Played in San Diego last year. I mean, super athletic. Almost like LeBron James put on a football uniform. You know, the dude is the real deal, and he is the guy that nobody knows about yet that's going to impact the playoffs going forward. One key team in the AFC just lost a tight end, Gronk. One key team in the AFC just got a tight end. And I think that's the difference on who goes to the Super Bowl to take on the winner of the Seahawks and the Cowboys. Pittsburgh, I mean, as far as this 3rd down efficiency, number 3 in pass blocking according to Pro Football Focus. They give Ben time to throw. I mean, Le'Veon coming out of the backfield. And the thing is with these on 3rd down, you see it with these games, it's all about pressure. You know, in the New York Giants, it's, you know, going through and doing my homework, one of the glaring deceiving stats that I saw was the New York Giants are 21st in the league in pass rush. We get this idea the 2007, 2011 Giants, winning Super Bowls on this great defense with pass rush. And really the thing is this isn't that team. This team can't run the ball. 24th in the league in rush. If it's 3rd and 2 and you're playing defense against them, you virtually know it's an Odell slot window play. They really have no running game. Their running back is Paul Perkins and Rashad Jennings. They don't have a running game. But with that deceiving pass rush, Jason Pierre-Paul last week had the pick 6 versus Cleveland. In that Cleveland game, I know a lot of you fish out there that are watching this took the Giants in that game. Say your blessings. Cleveland moved the ball. Terrell Pryor had 6 catches, 133 yards. Antonio Brown's he's gonna be a tough match. I really think this is gonna be a game where they really focus on Brown so much that their lesson they learn is oh my, the Pittsburgh Steelers have a lot of weapons. Don't be surprised if Eli Rogers has 10 catches, Ladarius Green 6 or 7, maybe 2 scores in the red zone. Le'Veon, don't expect him to have the greatest game rushing, but I just think I think Big Ben drops back and throws it 40, 45 times and just kind of picks them apart. And then the second half, fourth quarter, game will be kind of boring down the stretch. Pittsburgh will be eating the clock, and it'll be one of those games. Now, the New York Giants sitting at 8-3. People think they're a good team. Some commentators on ESPN that have jobs because they played sports, they're calling for them to make a Super Bowl run, and you're hearing these different comparisons of them, and the truth is they're frauds. I'm just going to run through. These are the quarterbacks they've played since week 4. McCown, Cutler, Dalton, Wentz, Keenum, Flacco, Rodgers, Bradford. Who in there is good? Maybe Rodgers. He's, obviously he's been shut down 3 or 4 out of the last 7 weeks. He still has the, and I'll touch on him on the Green Bay game. But the moral of the story is the New York Giant defense is not what people think they are. The offense isn't what they think they are. They're improving much better since the bye week. Eli's got as many touchdowns since the bye week as he did the first 6-7 weeks. And, this is going to be one of those games where Steelers just jump on them. Laying that full 6 is going to be tough. Might be a spot where, you cover with Steelers first quarter, first half, and then you go for the middle at halftime, try to hit them both. But I got Steelers 27, Giants 20. Next game up, Kansas City at Atlanta. Atlanta Falcons. Because of what the Dallas Cowboys have done, people are not this. In most years, the Atlanta Falcons are the talk of the NFL. This offense, 6.6 yards per play. A couple weeks ago, before the Philly game, there were 6.8 yards per play. Most in the NFL since the 2001 Rams, greatest show on turf. This offense, now that Tevin Coleman, sneaky guy to have back on your team. They're a juggernaut offensively. Devontae Freeman runs hard. Coleman gives you that change of pace. Keeps both guys fresh. You got different slot guys. I don't know their names, but they catch the football. Julio Jones. Having a, real, he's had 3 or 4 games of just laying eggs. And, Kansas City, people perceive them as this great defense. And, Marcus Peters, and people want to talk about him because of all the interceptions. And, Collinsworth touched on it in the different telecasts. But, as many great plays as he makes, he's a gambler. Fitting. He's a gambler. He likes to, go after balls, and he doesn't care if he gets up a touchdown, if he gets a pick. He's one of them guys. He's a Rondo playing defense. He wants to knock it away. And Julio Jones, his confidence is a little down right now. Matt Ryan, he's not a dumb guy. He knows that if they have any chance to beat Seattle or Dallas in the playoffs, he needs Julio Jones to be peak Julio Jones, to be the LeBron James of the National Football League, the most physical, dominant specimen that the league offers. And what a nice situation here to get his confidence up. Kansas City against number 1 receivers, 21st in the league, according to Pro Football Focus. Kansas City, Another big game they played at Pittsburgh on Sunday night. I touched on it. Crushed in the first half. If you're Kansas City, you're coming off of an emotional overtime win. The doink goes through the uprights. And now you got to go to Atlanta, play one of the best offenses in the league in the Dome, and then coming up 3.5 days later, you play on Thursday Night Football against the Oakland Raiders for the lead in the AFC West. That is what I like to call a sandwich, flat, look-ahead spot. If you're Kansas City, two situations here with injuries that, as far as strategy, thinking ahead, how is a coach going to handle a certain situation? Justin Houston, you saw him, 3 sacks on Sunday Night Football. He's questionable. Jeremy Maclin was already supposed to play. They scratched him a couple hours ago. If I'm the Kansas City coaching staff and I know Houston's not 100%, let's say Atlanta gets up 10-0, 14-0, I'm going to be a little cautious with Houston. I know maybe it's just, we're playing a tough team. We're 6-7 point underdogs. Let's just get out of here healthy. Let's get ready for Thursday. And it could be a game where the defense just quits and Atlanta just says, oh, thank you, we'll take 40 today. And then, Alex Smith playing with some confidence after that second half against Denver. Played one of the better second halves you'll see a quarterback play. And he's got a new toy by the name of Tyreek Hill. Young guy. Don't Google him and read his story. You won't like him as much. But this dude, as far as athleticism, I'll just tell you, he was a 5th rounder. He would have been a 1st rounder if it wasn't for the fact that he decided it would be a good decision to assault his girlfriend/wife, fiance, who was pregnant. And that got him to slip to the 5th round. The Chiefs, not afraid to take a gamble. Marcus Peters took him 17th overall. He was a top 5 pick. He basically punched a coach in college. Kansas City's general manager's type of guy, not willing to take some risk. And, it could pay off. So far it's looking like it is with the two of them. And, Tyreek last week, 9 targets, 9 catches against an Atlanta secondary that's 26th in the league against the pass. Don't be surprised if Alex Smith kind of keeps him in the game and keeps it a sweat. I like the over 50. I think it's Atlanta gets close to 40, 38, Kansas City 28. A lot of points. I'll take over 50. Up next, Detroit at New Orleans. All right, so when you're hot and you're hot like Detroit is, and you play on Thanksgiving, you get that extended rest. Rest can come, it's like you're at the blackjack table and you win 9 straight hands. And all of a sudden they tell you they're going to give you a new deck. They want to recount the shoe up, right? They kill your momentum, right? Things don't feel right. Things don't feel the same. Well, that's what happened to the Detroit Lions. They're in rhythm. They're going into the next week. They're about to play, New Orleans Saints, and they went on Turkey Day, kind of a gift from Bradford, and now they got to go to the Dome, the other dome, two domes you don't like to go to, Atlanta and New Orleans, and they got to play a New Orleans offense who now for the first time has all 5 offensive linemen healthy. Armstead, Pete, Unger, Evans, and Streiff, all 5 offensive linemen, full health. You're giving a man by the name of Drew Brees, who's playing Tom Brady-esque, playing some of his best football of his career in his late 30s. And you're giving him a healthy offensive line with Brandon Cooks, Michael Thomas, Willie Snead, Kobe Fleener, and Tim Hightower and Mark Ingram. If I'm a defensive coordinator and you say, who do you not want to play? I said Pittsburgh's the best offense in football. You can make the argument the New Orleans Saints are better. It's right there. It's 1A, 1B, and, New England's right there as well. But, these offenses these days, and with Sean Payton as a play caller, it doesn't get much better. So your New Orleans, back-to-back slow starts against Carolina, didn't score till like the 4th quarter, came up short, lost by 3. The Rams last week took them lightly. They're going to be hyped in the Dome. Playoff-like atmosphere, 2 teams fighting for wild cards, fighting for divisions. They know that this could be a wild card tiebreaker, and you got the Saints just in a just a beautiful spot. I mean, these Saints have Cowboy-like efficiency offensively. Number 5 in rush, number 6 in pass. And really, I'll tell you, the player that has completely changed this team is the emergence of Michael Thomas. This guy, especially in the red zone, big, physical, played at Ohio State, great hands. Had some issues with some fumbling, but I mean, as far as route running, he runs some whip routes where he puts his foot in the ground, and it's like stealing. And I'll tell you, the one part of this game where it's really, we know about the offenses, right? This game, it's gonna come down to defense. And since Delvin Breaux came back, the best cover corner for the Saints, they've went from 31st in the league up to 22nd. They're playing good each week, and that's a big difference when you've seen it with some of these teams over the years where you just have one great corner. It changes everything. It's not an island per se, but it's borderline. And I say another little side angle here is Detroit. So Minnesota loses on Thursday night to Dallas in a game they should have won. Detroit now has a 1.5 game lead in the division. A team that's not used to being in first. Not the greatest leader with Jim Caldwell. Don't be surprised if you see a little complacency, and New Orleans just jumps on them. Now, some of these teams, Detroit's defense has been playing great as of late, as far as points per game what they're giving up, but they're still 32nd in the league against the pass, 28th against the rush. The loss of DeAndre Levy, one of the best linebackers in the league, it's really hurting them, and they've been able to get away with it. Here's who they've faced of quarterbacks as of late. Bradford twice, Bortles, Osweiler, Keenum, Cousins, Wentz, Hoyer. Drew Brees, a little bit better. I like Saints first half, Saints for the game, Saints team total over 28.5. I got New Orleans 38, Detroit 21. Next up, Buffalo at Oakland. Look ahead spot for Oakland here, similar to KC. Oakland emotional win versus Carolina. Kansas City on deck on Thursday. Now they got Buffalo coming in against Rex Ryan, guy that loves to play the underdog narrative. Let's shock the world. Nobody believes in us. Coming to the West Coast against a really bad 26 in the league run defense with the second best rushing attack in the league. Sammy Watkins is back. Tyrod Taylor, LaShawn McCoy, one of the most underrated three-headed monsters in the league. David Carr's pinky. How's he going to respond a week later? Is it going to be a little sore? Is the ball's going to come out right? If there was any offense in the league due for an off day, it's the Oakland Raiders. And Oakland, number 1 in the league with run blocking, according to Pro Football Focus, but they struggle a little bit in the past. Last week, Carolina had pressure on them all day. Well, in comes the Buffalo Bills, number 2 in the league in sacks with 33. How is a young team like Oakland going to handle success? Love to shoot themselves in the foot with penalties. They had 23 penalties versus Tampa Bay in their overtime win. Crabtree's questionable. Not sure what they're going to do with him. Could be similar with Houston and Macklin with Kansas City, where they know they get the big game coming up and they want to make sure he's healthy there. Buffalo, something you wouldn't expect. Very good first quarter team. Number 4 in the league in first quarter points. Little side nugget for you here. 17 of the 21 past Oakland-Buffalo games, not against each other, but this season, they've gone over. Lots of overs in these 2 games. And Buffalo is one of those teams like Dallas. When they get a lead on you, they can play keep away. McCoy, if it's 3rd and 3 and you got him in the hole and it looks like you got him tackled, boop, he squirts out. Nobody in the business is better than him at that. I think Oakland plays keep away the whole second half. Bills 27, Raiders 17. Next up, Tampa Bay at San Diego. Tampa Bay coming off the huge win for Seattle. Also, huge win against Kansas City. Hottest team, one of the hotter teams in the league. Both of them were in really good spots where they were playing teams in flat spots and situations where, kind of caught them off guard. You're not going to catch San Diego off guard. They're in that must-win mentality. We got to win out. Let's get 10 wins, see what happens. As far as talent's concerned, they're one of the 7 best teams in football. Joey Bosa was out the first 3 weeks. They got him back with Ingram coming off the edge. Not many teams like San Diego. Defense is very underrated. Top 10 in the league, number 9 against the pass. Good pass coverage. Going against a Tampa Bay team, 28th in the league in rush. One-dimensional team, really only it's Mike Evans or bust, maybe a sprinkle, a little bit of Cameron Brayden, but That's not enough. Who's another receiver on Tampa Bay? I'll wait. I mean, I studied this shit for a living, kind of. And guess what? I don't know another receiver on their team. I'm sorry, I lied. Vincent Jackson, but he's so old he shouldn't count. But Tampa Bay, I mean, overachieving late. Doing things they should do. Big wins, things I like to see. I'm a Jameis fan, but this is a tough spot. Florida team traveling to Cali, time change. San Diego coming off a bye. I'm sorry, not coming off, but coming off of a defensive great performance against Houston. I think they do it again. I think they shut down Tampa Bay. Chargers first half, Chargers for the game. And Tampa Bay's team total under 23. I got Chargers 24, Tampa Bay 13.